And then the number of platforms, we discussed this already. Is it to be on iOS? Is it to be on Android? What kind of platforms? How far back should I go back? Should be going back to iOS 6.0, or is it are you happy if it is just from iOS 10 and above? Similarly, is it about the multi-platform? For example, you're talking about Windows, about Mac OS and Linux and all these things. All of these things would come into picture. The number of devices you would that application should be supporting, the number of the resolution of the screen size, the number of browsers that it should support. All of these questions you should ask, because these are important. Because sometimes the cross-browser testing is one of the most time-taking ones in a particular development. It would be the most time-taking, most critical one for any application if you're trying to develop. The most amount of time is spent not in development, not in the design, but is actually in testing it. And in testing across so many different browsers, so many different types of variants, so many different versions, so many different platforms, different devices. Nowadays, you've got even tablets and phones and everything coming into picture. Everything is actually being put in the fore. So you need to really be wary of all of these when you try and estimate. Reliability required. Do you really want it to be the best 100% reliable, or are you okay with about 80%? So it's all about that. It's a trade-offs. The continuity of staff. The person who coded this was in Java is not working in the company anymore. So what should be done? We can't really re-engineer that. We need to have somebody who knows Java, who needs to delve deeper into this, try and dig deep, debug the whole thing, and then come up with backward engineering, and then come up with the functionality. From there on, we can port it into from Java to .NET or from Java to Python. But then we need to have that kind of flexibility, right? Somebody should be able to debug the code written in some other language. And then the involvement of users. How involved are the users? What's the kind of their commitment to this one? Are they really serious about this? Are they motivated to use our product or not? And then team cohesion is a very important one. Again, teamwork and team building. Again, the mantra for successful agile development is because of the teamwork involved, the kind of the cohesion and the kind of grouping, the kind of behavior dynamics, group dynamics involved in teams, that has actually contributed to the success of agile methods. If that is not the case, again, that goes back to the kind of responsibility the team takes on themselves. The owners and the development team actually puts the onus and the ownership on the development team. So they kind of estimate, they do the development, they own up the whole development process, and then they deliver and they kind of take the entire commitment. So it's they who estimate, they would commit, they would develop, and they deliver. So it's all about the team there in agile, and that's why it's successful. Of course, the location communication, we've got distributed and co-located and collaborative teams coming into picture. So we talked about it already in terms of agile. So people located, how can they interact? So that's where the collaborative tools like Jira, Jive, all these, Trellos and all these things come into picture, Atlassian, Confluence, Wiki, all of these are really helping, and the GitHub for the coding. So they would really kind of help propel this kind of teamwork and make sure that the work is actually getting easier instead of so that they can spend on the core work, which is coding, rather than on the other peripheral stuff about non-productive work.